Okay.
All right, it is now recording. Yes, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, on the
I
upper
can see it.
left-hand saying it says recording.
Yep.
Oh,
up in the
good.
corner.
Because I can't see it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's see if since I'm not in presentation mode. Geez. See if I can get to where I can actually change my slides. There we go. Technical difficulties. I have to present this in edit mode, but everyone can see my screen okay?
No,
Yep.
Yes.
Looks good to me.
Steve says no.
no, all I've got is a spinning wheel in the middle of the screen, but I think I'm about to drop out of.
Did you want to try reconnecting?
Yeah, that sounds like maybe a bandwidth issue.
What do you think, Steve? Are you going to reconnect?
Um,
Or I can talk through most of it. You'll want to see the screen share when Yona does her presentation on the new scheduling system.
yeah, I don't think I can do anything. All I've got is a spinning wheel.
Yeah, Jerry's saying his video is frozen.
I'm gonna try to leave and come back.
Well, we can
Okay.
also, Andy, we can send this to whoever can't see it we can record it and just send them the recorded copy.
Yep. You just want to do that, Steve? He might have already left. Jerry, you're still there, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm just kind of frozen.
Yep. You might kill your video camera feed that might help.
Yep.
You'd think in the 21st century we'd have video conferencing down, but no. No. I'm just waiting for Steve to reconnect.
He's joining. I'm going to hide my camera. I don't know if that will help.
Yeah, I'm going to turn off mine too. Stop video.
Hey, you're back.
There we go.
Oh, I don't think I can.
Steve, if you kill your camera, it may help a little bit too.
No, I'm back.
Oh, okay. And you can see my screen share?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm just trying to figure out how to get. I want to mute myself. I don't see that. I think it's buried under something. Oh, it's right here.
Cool. And Jerry, you're good?
Yep.
All right. So I'll get started then. March 20th to the day before summer training. That's pretty normal for us. The first day of spring to the first day before summer training is when our spring season begins. And one thing I just want to put a shout out there is we always need bodies to do training inventory.
Sure.
That means as the snow starts to melt, it's super helpful to have us volunteers out there to help direct people. People get lost in amazing ways and end up all over the place. It doesn't matter where you're at Hesse or East Portal or Brainerd. People end up everywhere because they follow what looks like a foot trail and it just goes nowhere. And it's also good to have those early summer season trail reports out on the website. So you guys know who I am, I hope. So we're gonna cover the new scheduling system as soon as I'm done with this section. I'm just going to give you a quick refresher on springtime rules, specifically related to the Brainerd Lake area. Going to talk about the new radio cache here in Boulder. There's a new key code at NED, just to make sure everybody has that information. Just a few quick radio reminders, and also a friendly reminder that you do need to go out of service. We've had a couple of minor instances, so nothing big, no major deal. So just a reminder on that. Something to write down. If you try and log into the old scheduling system, the old patrol scheduling system that's online on April 12th, you'll get a surprise because you won't be able to access the reporting system. So that's what Yona's going to be covering tonight. It's brand new. Just some background information for those of you who aren't in the know. And hi, Yona, by the way. Hello. The reason why we're switching is we have an old system that requires custom development, and the person who maintains it wants to retire and not maintain it anymore. So we've moved to a new system that's kind of a what you see is what you get system, and it's modern, it's supported, and I think you guys will like it. And I know Yona's done a great job in the demos I've seen so far, so I'm pretty excited for you guys to see it. And you're kind of pilot testing this. The system will also be kicked into full gear for the summer patrols. So you guys are on the bleeding edge. So just a refresher, the winter rules at Brainerd end on April 30th. They're still in effect, so if you're going for a patrol this weekend, pets are still only allowed on the Brainerd Lake Road, the left-hand Park Reservoir Road, and the Sourdough Trail. Dog leashes, unfortunately, are not required on the Brainerd Lake Road, Sourdough, or the left-hand Park Reservoir Road for the moment, and that'll change on the 1st of May. So still in effect, no snowmobiles are ever allowed in the Brainerd Lake Recreation Area. Camping, we've gotten tons of questions about this. So just a refresher, people can and have been camping around Red Rock Lake. We've had illegal campers in the Pawnee campground. They have to be 1/4 mile away from the campground trailheads or picnic areas. In fact, I lost track of the number of people we saw last weekend. That I think it was a big party of about 12 people that were at Pawnee campground. Summer rules. Da-da-da. Summer rules are May 1st through November 14th. So starting May 1st, summer rules go into effect. So what does that mean? Dogs are permitted everywhere in the Brainerd Lake Recreation Area. They always have to be on a leash, whether they're on the road, whether they're on the trail, and also especially at the trailhead. In some cases, the dogs just get loose and running around and saying hi to everybody. In other cases, the people are gearing up and just letting their dog run wild, and it's annoying people. So if the dog's annoying people or annoying you, then they need to put that dog on a leash starting May 1st. So radios coming very soon, possibly as early as this Sunday. There's going to be a new radio cache in Boulder at my condo. And there's our address, 6243 Willow Lane, Boulder. And I'll show you a street view of what this looks like in just a second and where it is. The key code for this box, it's a black box. It's about 12 inches tall. And there's a dial key code on front, and the key code is 2021. In there will be 2 radios and either an inReach or a spot. You need to make arrangements with me to pick the night before, and I'll put the radios out. And you just pick them up at your convenience and then return them when you're done. And just be sure to relock the cabinet. Just like the cabinet up at Ned Fire, you have to change the key code to get it to lock again. So
Andy,
key
I
code, yeah,
have
go
a
ahead.
question. Are those radios, will we still have the same amount up at Ned Fire? Or I guess that's what I'm wanting to know. Are these 2 radios coming from the current cache, or is this 2 more radios in addition to the ones that are at Ned Fire?
These are our 2 remaining radios that are kind of our backups.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yep, the ones at Ned Fire will stay there, but I was going to talk to you or Brian if you can bring down either the inReach or the spot at some point in the near future. One or the other, but we can work that out later. Don't have to figure that out now. So these are 2 additional radios, and I'll charge them up. So out there by the stairwell, there's no power, so I have to walk them out there and lock them up. So when would you use the Boulder cache? And I know that Kelly has been very thankful. If you're going from Boulder to Brainerd, basically parts north, Brainerd's and parts north, Brainerd, Beaver Reservoir, Camp Dick, Allen's Park, this is going to save you a huge amount of driving. You don't have to go all the way to Ned, go to your destination to do your patrol, drive all the way back to Ned.
We're very grateful, Andy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We just did it.
Yeah, we talked about this years ago, and well, we're doing it now. So here's a street view of our condo. The big yellow arrow behind the stairwell there, going up to the 2nd floor at 6243 Willow Lane, is going to be it's a black lockbox. I put it on we are putting it, future tense, on the back of the stairwell to try and make it as incognito as possible. Okay, so moving along, the Ned Fire radio cache, the key code changed. I know it caught some of you by surprise. 741 should be the new key code. Nothing else changed. So just make a note. Still enter through the ambulance bay door. Some of the reasons for their Ned Fire sensitivity have been reduced. They're not diminished. So please, if it's not an emergency, don't use their bathroom. Say hi to them from a distance. Get in, get out. Don't blast loud music out front like Steve does. You want to enter through the ambulance bay door, which is on the north side of the building. None of this is new information. Summertime. We get asked this every year, and I remind everybody every year, during the summer, once summer patrols start, you're highly encouraged to carry the radios and the inReach or spot device. There's no reason to stop practicing your winter patrol techniques during the summer. You're more than welcome to check them out. If you want the one in Boulder, just check with me and I'll put it out there for you. So summer patrols, you can continue to carry radios and the inReach or the spot device. And I know that probably the middle of July, someone's going to ask me if we can still use the radios, but that's okay. Most of you responded, thank you. Coming up in May, we hope, is a cross-cut class. And I know that at least one other person on the line needs a recert like I do. I'm hoping that for recertification, we don't have to take the entire class. I've sent John Brooks 2 reminders, so we'll see what happens. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. For those of you that haven't taken it, I don't know if it's a 2-day class or a 3-day class. The full class, full in quotes, is usually an all-day Friday of virtual classroom time and then 2 days in the field. So we'll know more soon, hopefully. If you're taking the class, you do not need an active first aid certificate to take the class. If you're expired, it could be wilderness first aid, it could be wilderness first responder, it could be regular first aid. Whatever you have, it's going to work. If you want to lead a cross-cutting tree removal after you've taken the class, if that makes sense. So you don't need the first aid cert to take the class, you just need it to lead a cross-cutting removal activity. And also just a heads up, if you're, for whatever reason, you're not comfortable getting recertified in wilderness first aid or first aid, I do want to let people know that there is a virtual component and then there's an in-class component for the practical hands-on exams. If you're not comfortable, just let me know and we'll figure something out. But you will need to be recertified for winter patrols starting this November. And also just a heads up, classes are being snapped up super fast because people didn't certify last year. We all, including myself, kind of skated. We got a free year, and now a lot more people than normal's licenses or certifications have expired. So I've talked to a few of the trainers, and they said they get snapped up fast. So just a heads up. Okay, so for the next section, really quick, just some reminders because most of you don't use the radios all the time. Just a heads up that if you're calling for RMR, that the call sign you want to use for them is operations and your call sign. Mainly just a reminder. Wait a few minutes on the channel. Don't interrupt them if they're super busy. Operations is the keyword there. That's their call sign. Then the Ned Fire, you want to call for Ned Station 1. Just a reminder, Ned Station 1. Same thing applies. If they're busy, don't bug them. Wait a minute or two before calling them if you need to call them for an emergency. And almost last but not least, just a friendly reminder, 1 to 2 inches from your mouth. If you're too close, it's going to be garbled. If you're too far away, the volume's going to be really low. I usually use my thumb as a guide, if my thumb is touching my chin, that's usually about far enough. And for springtime, the radio is not waterproof. If you drop it in the water, it's going to kill the radio. And like I said earlier, we're down to two extras at the moment. So it will handle spring showers. If it's a biblical deluge, you probably want to put it inside your jacket. There is one radio with an external microphone, and that's nice because the radio can be in your jacket pocket and the microphone can be up on your pack strap. And last but not least, before we switch over to Yona, like I mentioned, there's been some minor hiccups with people not reporting completion at the end of the day. Be sure to let me know. And I'm going to caveat that now and say that if you text me, make sure that you get a response back, because if you haven't gotten a response back within like 30 minutes, that could mean either the text message didn't get sent or something, or I got hit by a tornado. Hopefully not, but you never know. No new information here, just a reminder that you will still check in all the way up until the first day of training. So we're technically under winter patrol rules until the first training day. And Kelly, what day is that this year? What's the date?
June 6th is the first day.
July 6th. Thank you.
June.
Oh, sorry. I
Yeah.
said July. June.
Yeah.
June 6th. June 6th.
Yeah.
And that's a Saturday.
That's
correct?
a Sunday. Yeah.
That's a Sunday.
Training is on June 5th. So
Which is Friday.
June 5th is a Saturday, and then June 6th is a Sunday.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong year. Got it. All right. That's the end of my section. Are there any questions, comments before Yona jumps in and does her show?
Hey, Andy. Oh, Andy, yeah, quick question about the first slide you had there with respect to trail inventory. So
Where is that?
you want us to sort of span
Somewhere in here.
and just get snow conditions, early snow conditions in our
There
report.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes, in the springtime, the BRD would love for us to provide trail reports. Trail reports include the condition of the trail, if it's muddy, if it's snow covered, because we can have late season snows, if it's icy. There'll also be a lot of downed trees if trees are blocking the trail. Hopefully we can have you remove the smaller ones. And oh, I'm glad you said that, Kelly. Just a reminder to everyone, carry a small limbing saw with you. Limbing, not lemming. Carry a small limbing saw with you, especially in the springtime. Cut branches, remove small trees, just be careful. We know of a few that are already down and in the way, so the more small ones you guys can clean up while you're there, the better. So that's basically what we're looking for springtime. I think it's beautiful up there. I know it's always hard for us to get winter patrollers to tromp around and if the snow's mashed potato, but if you get up there early enough in the morning, it's just beautiful conditions, t-shirt weather.
Hey, Andy, question for you. This is Craig. The
Craig.
limbing saws that you have in the box up in Ned, where did you get those?
Oh goodness, we got those years ago. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Those
But
work great. I mean, Dan and I removed a couple of 10-inch trees with those things. I mean, they were spectacular as far as cutting through them. So I was just
yeah,
curious.
Steve may have a recommendation, and I know Lincoln has a really nice one. Steve, any
Just curious.
recommendations?
He just stepped away, it looks like.
Oh, okay. Lincoln, what's the make and model of yours?
Stand by and I'll go downstairs and look.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to send you on a goose chase.
And there's yeah.
This is the saw.
What's that, Steve?
This is the saw I use. It's a 14-inch Corona saw. I bought this at Ace Hardware in Netherlands, but McGuckins also has it. They're
Yeah.
30.
Is it the razor teeth?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
I've cut trees over 18 inches in diameter with this saw.
Wow.
I mean, we used those little ones up in Ned and cut down at least 2 or 3 this year that were better than 10 inches. And I mean, they went right through them. I was amazed.
Yeah,
Mine is a silky.
the Silky is a lot more expensive. Coronas are a lot cheaper.
Both are nice.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
I've got one more comment.
Sure.
On communications, you say to reach RMR, you say, I would say operations bonus 16. Well, actually, operations is not necessarily RMR. Who operations is going to be is the first responders to arrive at the trailhead. In fact, it probably won't be RMR. It'll probably either be the local fire department or sheriff's department, and they'll be operations.
Do I need to update this slide, Steve?
Oh, no, you don't, because operations, whoever says their answers to operations will be at the trail.
Gotcha.
In fact, you probably wouldn't want to talk to RMR if they're still halfway up the canyon. You want to talk to somebody at the trailhead. So
That makes sense.
So this be where the operations is actually the first people to arrive at the trailhead.
Good clarification. Thank you.
And I got one more thing too. It's
Sure.
the little card we have that's got phone numbers.
Yep.
Up until last year, I was recommending if you wanted to reach Boulder Sheriff's Department dispatch, you'd call a non-emergency number because it goes right to the dispatcher. Whereas if you're like up at Pawnee Pass, you dial 911, you might get Graham County or Larimer County or something. I'm not recommending that anymore. Last year, Boulder County was getting too many calls, so people wanted to try and reach Boulder City, that sort of thing. So they've got a telephone tree thing now. It's a recording if you want to reach, Boulder Fire Department, call this, Boulder Police, call this. And so it's probably quicker now just to dial 911 and let the 911 operators sort it out there. They'll be a lot faster than you waiting through that recording.
Good info. I had to go through that stupid tree the other day.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
takes a minute or two.
Yeah, they were just getting too many calls for Boulder City. So I was tying up their 911 operators So they introduced that last year.
Sounds good. Thanks for the update.
Yep.
Anybody else before Yona goes to bat? All right, Yona.
All right, good afternoon or evening, whatever time it is. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen and show you the new portal. Maybe. Okay, are you seeing my screen?
Yep.
And does it have the Indian Peaks website on it?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yep.
All right. So, as Andy mentioned, we are decommissioning the old members portal, which has definitely served us well and has been a great resource for us. But it does require a lot of back-end coding that we just don't have the bandwidth to support anymore, especially with Deb retiring on maintaining it. So there goes our old site. But we have a great solution, and that's going to be on our public website with a members only volunteer portal link that will be accessible only to volunteers. And so we'll have to approve you to get access to the site. I think a few of you have already registered. So to get in, what you'll do is you'll go to indianpeakswilderness.org. And I recommend doing this. If you're following along, you can kind of do this as we're going, or you can watch and then go in and set yourself up. So let me make this just a little bit bigger. Okay, so you will go to the volunteer portal link, which is going to be in the upper right, and click on volunteer portal. It's going to open up the login page, and then from here you'll see it is restricted to current active volunteers only. And so if you have anybody who's not a volunteer and they're interested in becoming a volunteer, they can email us and we'll put them on the list. Until April, actually until April 12th, you'll want to use the old site. So there's a link to it right here. That's just going to open up the current tracking site that we are using now. So I'm going to close that guy again. And on April 12th, when you are ready to schedule hikes or report on hikes, you'll want to go to this site. So if you don't already have a login to this, you will need to set up a new login. So if you're a current volunteer and need to access the site, you'll click the sign up button. The sign up button is going to take you to the sign up page. And then from here, you'll put in your first name, last name, email address, and make a password. And then you'll check the I am not a robot and I am a current volunteer and submit. And then from there, that goes to a queue where we will approve you. We'll make sure you really are who you say you are, and we will approve you. And then once you're approved, then you can log in. So when you're on the login page, you'll be able to then use your credentials and log in. And once you put in your email and password and hit login, it's going to take you in to the portal. And here it is. Okay, so this is the new portal site. It is restricted only to volunteers, so only people who can log in are going to be able to get to this page. And you can see here the current season is the winter spring patrol season. So April, actually it's supposed to say April 12th. April 12th to June 4th, that's going to be your season. And then starting on, I think it's June, we have a day for training day, and then the summer season starts on Sunday, June 6th. Training day is on June 5th. So the winter patrol schedule button is going to be over here. And on this page, let me just give you a quick tour here. So you will see when you're logged in, hello, and then your name. And if you click on that drop down, that's going to give you your profile page and then also your logout button. So if you want to, you can explore your profile page by clicking on profile. And if you would like to, you can put in about you section by clicking in here, and you can publish it if you want. Publishing means that it's just going to be accessible to other volunteers who can log in. It's not going to be available to the public. If you want to put in a picture of yourself, you can click the edit button and you can click on this little picture icon to upload a photo of yourself. If you want to update your name or something, you can do that as well. And then you can also click on the view members button, and that's going to open up a list of all of the members. And if you are a winter patroller, we will give you the Winter Patrol badge, which is this little blue icon with a snowflake on it. So there you go. So, so some folks are already in here. Looks like we have Craig, Emily, and Kelly. And so go ahead, if you haven't already, you'll want to make sure that you create an account for this site, and then you can customize your profile if you want to. So again, you'll click on volunteer profile when you're ready, volunteer portal when you're ready to get logged in and sign up for an account. And then once you do get logged in, you can go into your name and edit your profile. To view reports, you're going to click on view all reports. And I do have a sample report just so you can see how this looks. So this would be the same page that you would have, a similar style of page that you would have seen if you were on our old portal and you were looking to see what other people have put in for their reports. So as an example here, if I scroll down a bit, you can see this is just my sample. This is not a real hike. But in this sample, I will delete this once we go live on the 11th, 12th. But you can see here, it puts my name, the date of the hike, the start and end time, and I can scroll over to see more information if I'd like. I went to Winter Gateway, Brainerd Lake, and I can see trail conditions, public trail information, who I went with, downed tree information, and so on. All the information that I put into my report is going to show up on here. All the numbers of things that we collect, miles hiked, volunteer hours, dog seen, etc. They're going to show up on this little page. This is accessible to volunteers who've logged in.
Hey, Yona, could I stop
Yes.
just for a quick second?
Mhm.
Andy, are we expecting somebody, we have someone who just wants to get admitted and they're calling in from St. Ambrose Episcopal Church.
I wonder if that's Luz.
I'll go ahead.
Do we have
and
any
let
way
her-
to boot him out if that's not who it is?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I guess if that's her.
That's
maybe?
probably Dan.
Oh, could be Dan. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, and there he is. Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, welcome, Dan. So I'm just doing a quick tour of the Indian Peaks new portal page, and this is replacing the old portal. So I'm calling it the old portal, but it's our current portal. It's going to be deactivated on April 11th. So on April 12th, you will be going to our news site. So you will no longer be logging in here. Instead, you will be logging in on the new site by clicking on the volunteer portal link in the upper right. Once you're logged in, and there is a place to sign up for a new account, you can, you'll be on the portal homepage. And then from here, this portal page is restricted only to logged in users. So you'll have some buttons here where you can view all reports, you can view all scheduled hikes, and you can schedule a winter patrol. And the schedule a winter patrol button is restricted only to current winter patrollers.
Yona, does that change over to schedule summer as of June 6th or 5th?
You got it.
Okay.
Yes. So on June 6th, I will switch out the button and it will then go to the summer patrol link instead. So you'll schedule a summer. And we may have other people who are logging in who are not winter patrollers. Only winter patrollers, only you folks are going to have access to this button. Everyone else will be able to view reports and view scheduled hikes. So if they're kind of interested to see what's going on with the winter season, they'll be able to do that and look at announcements, but they won't be able to schedule anything, and you won't be able to schedule any summer hikes until June 6th when we turn it on. But as winter patrollers, on the 12th, you will have access to the schedule winter patrol button. And when you click on that, it's going to open up this page. So on the 12th, we will be live with the new Indian Peaks portal and scheduling tool. So you will use the schedule winter patrol button to schedule your hikes for the season, for the rest of the winter spring season. And it'll tell you here, you will receive an email with a link to fill out your patrol report on the return date you entered when you're scheduling your hike. And it's just important to remember to submit your report on the day of your hike, or if you do an overnight trip on the return day. Otherwise, emergency protocols will be started. And then if you have multiple people going together, the person who schedules the hike will need to be the person who completes the report. And there is a place to put in who went with you if you go with other Indian Peaks members. and then they will be credited with the hike. So to schedule a hike, you're going to select Schedule Winter Patrol. And it's going to open up the form. Here we go. So you'll see our lovely Schedule a Winter Patrol hike, and it's going to have your season dates here at the top. So you will fill out this form to schedule a patrol hike. It's very similar to what you filled out in the old portal system, but you're going to do it on this new format, on this new form. So you will fill out your date and time, date, return date, start time, end time, trail location. And Andy and I worked on sprucing up the patrol location, trail location lists.
Thank God.
So the locations are streamlined to be
I asked that.
wilderness area. So you can pick James Peak, you can pick Brainerd Lake, and then it's just going to give you the Brainerd Lake trailheads and destinations. You can pick Indian Peaks Wilderness south of Brainerd. So if you're going to Hesse or other southern destinations, or north of Brainerd. Those are going to be your options. And then also on the off chance you're starting from the western slope, there is some western slope starting points as well. And in case you're wondering, yes, you are allowed to start from the western slope and hike on the western slope if you'd like. That is the jurisdiction of the Grand County volunteers. They will also be volunteering from that end, but we are allowed to patrol on that side as well.
So question.
Yes.
This is Craig. If we started on the west slope and we're basically backpacking or something like that and wanted to come over, would that count as time spent in the wilderness for a patrol when we're on the western slope side, or would it just count when we come over the divide? You know what I mean?
That's
all
a great
counts.
question.
It all counts.
There we go.
Cool. Dan, fishing. Sorry. Thanks.
You bet.
All right, so here we go. So let's say I pick Brainerd. So then Brainerd is going to come up with my trailhead start. Am I starting from any of these spots? And in the winter, obviously, you might not be starting from some of these guys, but let's say we pick Winter Gateway. Then we can select trailhead and same as start. Yes, no. If it's no, then you can type in where you're planning on returning to from. So I'm going to say yes for trailhead ending same as the start. And then you're going to select your furthest destination. So that could be a lake, glacier, peak, pass, wherever the furthest spot is you're planning on going. And this box only allows you to pick one destination. So in the past, you would have maybe picked multiple destinations. You're only going to pick your furthest one. So let's say you're going to the CMC cabin. That's what you'll pick. And then, and this list does include everything. So let's say you were going all the way to Isabel Glacier, you could pick that guy. But again, it only lets you pick one. And once you've picked what you're going to pick, here is your destination. You can put in, this is optional, but if you do have additional route information, so let's say you are doing a larger loop hike, or are some additional destinations that you want to capture, trail segments, trail deviations, you can put that in the optional box. And this is just to provide us with some more detail on where you're going and what sort of loop you're doing. If it's more than what you have here as your,
like if you were going to hike out the snowshoe trail and come back the wall drop trail or something, you could put it in there.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Looks like Toll and Paiute are missing from there.
Those aren't valid destinations.
Aha.
They're not?
No. There's no, if there's not a trail to the top of the peak, it's not an official destination. You're essentially off trail. So Audubon has a trail to the top, Niwot Ridge, trail to the top, Pawnee Pass, etc.
Okay.
Pawnee Peak.
Yep. So you'll just put in your official destination, and then if you want to put in some additional, information, you can put it in the optional box. Okay, so that's going to be your destination information. Once you have that in, you go to step 3, who's hiking. So you'll put your name and information in, your name, email address, who's hiking with you. If you are looking for a hiking partner, you can select that option. And then it does allow you to then put in your, my little autofill things, you can put in your desired contact information. So for example, let's say I want somebody to call me, I can put in my number, call me at, whatever. So there we go. So I can put in my number, and then optional, do I have any preferences? Bring good snacks. There we go. But this is something like, let's say you're a female hiker, you want to hike with another female, or you're a turtle like me and you like to take your sweet time. You can put that in as well. You don't want any marathon runners with you. So that sort of thing, if you have any optional hiking partner preferences that would help people to decide if they want to call you or not, you can put that in. And then once you've filled out your information here, then you'll have step 4 car information. I'm also going to just switch gears and just go back to the other options here. If you pick solo, it doesn't give you those options. If you are looking for a hiking partner, pick that one. If you do pick none, IPWA friend and family also doesn't give you any additional information that you have to fill out. If you pick other IPWA volunteers, so you've already pre-set up that you're going to go with some other volunteers, it is going to ask you, who are you going with? And all members will get credit, but the person who schedules the hike is the person who has to complete the report. So if you schedule it, you report on it. So if you're going with somebody, just pick who you're going with. You can use the control button to pick more than one. Whoops. There. So let's say I'm going with all these guys, where I can select them all and then move on. And then transportation method, this is to enter in your car information. So if you're driving to the trailhead, you can select that guy. If you are driving to the Hesse shuttle service in the summer, you can select that one. It's still going to ask you for your car information. And on the off chance you're not driving, so let's say you are taking the bus up from Boulder or from wherever and then catching the shuttle, or you're taking an Uber, not sure if there's Ubers in the mountains, but maybe. Or maybe someone's dropping you off, picking you up, something like that. You can select not driving, and then you're not required to put in car information. But if you are, then you'll want to put in your license plate information, your car make and model, your color of your car, and then submit. And then once you submit, okay, I missed a couple of things, so it's going to tell you if you miss anything. So I skipped over the date and the return date and the start time and the end time. Let's see if it'll let me do this. I might have already preset the limitations on this guy. Okay, here we go. So when I was setting this, when we were doing the setup on these, we made it so that it has kind of date restrictions, mostly so that you don't accidentally schedule something before. And so if you're supposed to put it in the other system, we put it in the other system up until the 12th. Okay. So you'll put in your start time, your end time, estimated end time. And then, okay, then once you've put in everything, if you've missed anything, it will tell you. Otherwise, you can submit, and there it goes. Thank you. You will receive a copy via email with a link to edit, and you'll also receive an email on the return day of your scheduled hike with a link to fill out your patrol report. So this is something that's different as well. Instead of going into the portal to fill out your report, you will get an email. So you want to monitor your email, and that's going to come in to your email on the day that you said you were going to return. You will also get a email. Let me scooch my email over. So this email just popped up in my email box, and this is the schedule that I just posted. So it has all my information that I just put in. And if I need to edit this information, I can click the edit the submission link, and that's going to take me to an edit page where it shows everything I put in, and then I can make changes if I need to. Sometimes it takes a second to load. There it goes. So there's everything I already put in. Oh, wrong date. I can put in a different date. I actually meant to say I'm going on the 13th. And then I can save, and that's going to save my information with the changes. So actually there's close under there. I did not want to change anything. So back on our volunteer portal, once you've scheduled a hike, I've scheduled my patrol hike. I've gotten an email which allows me to edit it, and it also lets me see what I scheduled. I'm going to go back to my portal homepage, and then from here, if I click on View All Scheduled Hikes, I should see my hike pop onto the schedule. Okay, so there's the hike that I just scheduled to Mount Audubon. So here you can see it, it's showing up here. It has the information I just put in. I can scroll over if I want to see all of the information. I can also click on the view larger option. If I click on view larger, it's just going to pop it open in a separate tab. And then from here, I'll be able to see the full schedule. And it's just in a bigger screen, so it might be easier to see. And then I can scroll over, see everything that was put in. If I'm looking for a hiking partner, I might have some information in there. So everything is in there. And you can also hover over someone's name and you can click on the view button. That's gonna just pop it over in this little submission thing here. And then you can kind of scroll down if you prefer that method to kind of take a look at what all was entered in. Just a couple different ways to look at the information. Okay, so I'm going to close out of there. That was just clicking on view larger to make it an expanded view. And again, right from here, I can also click on the view link, and that's going to pop it open over here as well. I'm going to take a look. So you'll be able to see everyone's scheduled information just like you can now in the current system. It's just going to be a slightly different format with this table and these little view buttons, or the view larger if you need to.
Yona, does it display like the most, the date that's the farthest in advance? That's what I'm trying to say. And will it display different people for the same date, or does it just, like if I schedule 2 hikes, are my 2 hikes together? Or is it like everybody scheduled for April 12th, everybody scheduled, does this make sense?
That's a great question. I'm not sure what the default order is, but
Okay.
you can order it how you like on here.
Okay.
So when you get here, let's say you want to see everything for you, you can click on this little down arrow and like you can do ascending, descending.
Oh, right.
That's going to sort it. So you're going to have all of my hikes and then all of your hikes, in alphabetical order,
Right.
by name. Or if you want to sort by date, let's say you're looking for what's the furthest out, you could sort by date. You can also just go right in and like look for a specific date. So that's kind of cool. There's some filters on here. So you can filter and look for, I'm looking for everybody who's looking for a hiking partner, or I'm looking for everything that's going out to Brainerd. You could do these different filters to look for stuff.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, or by date. Here's a little date thing. So I could say, I'm only interested in who's going out on this date, or whatever, today, tomorrow, last 3 days, whatever.
Being a bully. You were being a bully just now.
I just want to say thank you. I think you have done just an incredible job with this. And personally, I think this seems so much more user-friendly than the old system. So kudos to you.
Thanks. Yeah, we tried to make the forms a little more user-friendly, and it's still a work in progress. So if you see anything that doesn't make sense or something we could fix, just let us know. Back on that portal page, I forgot to mention a really important thing, and that's the important announcements at the top here. So important announcements are things that our board will put in, and Andy or whoever, Kelly, if you guys have anything you want to put in here, I will give you a little quick tour of how to put this stuff in here, but it's very easy to do. So there's important announcements, and we'll try to keep this up to date. It's very similar to our announcements on our old site, but maybe a little clearer. So for example, I just popped this in here because I thought it was a good announcement about the summer rules beginning on May 1st. And then we have some other announcements coming up about the permit system is already live. So that's all on recreation.gov. If anybody's thinking about going backpacking this summer in Indian Peaks, you can get your permits online. And then we have our trail project dates on here, and they're also out on our calendar of events on our public website, and some more kind of alerts and things. So if there's additional alerts or things that you think should be added in, you can shoot an email over maybe to Andy, and he can pop them on here, or I can put them on there, either way. We also have some helpful know before you go links. So we have a link to the Forest Service Boulder Ranger District page. You can click on that link. It's going to open up the Boulder Ranger District page, which is a great page to visit if you're looking for alerts, closures, things like that. All kinds of helpful information is on here. You're going to see all kinds of stuff. So good page to bookmark. That's linked here in our know before you go. We also have public trail conditions report as well. So if I click on that, this is going to take us to our trail conditions report. So this form is actually going to, it links into the report that you're going to fill out. When you fill out your report, it's going to populate just certain fields on this trail conditions that are entered in for the public. So the public will be able to see your trailhead, date of hike, destination, trail condition, and additional trail information. But they won't be able to see a lot of the other critical or private information that we want just for the Forest Service. So that's our trail conditions report. That'll be the new link for that. And then we also have in our know before you go weather conditions. I think I linked this to Wonderground, but if anybody has a better weather condition station that you'd rather see a link to, we could change that. This is the one that I think I utilize. So this one takes you to the downtown Netherlands station, which is kind of in the middle of several of the wilderness areas, I guess, or I don't know. So this is going to give you the weather conditions for Netherland. And then if I go back to our volunteer portal, there's also the Tundra Cam, which is nice to take a look at if you're wanting to see what the conditions are up on the Niwot Ridge. And we also have volunteer resources and FAQs as well. So if we click on volunteer resources, this is a volunteer only page that has some helpful resources. This is going to include things like our COVID video from last year. We might be updating this information. Some training information and videos, leave no trace links, authority of the resource videos, and so on. So lots of good training information. If you do need a name tag replacement, where to get that. Some information about our expert voice deals. We will have more information coming out about that soon. And then also all kinds of documents are on here too. So if you're looking for a copy of the handbook, any of our standard legal forms are all on here. And then handouts for the public are on here as well. So if you want to take a look at any of our brochures or maps or things, these are on here as well. Leave no trace stuff, other materials. So lots of good stuff is all on our website, on our volunteer resources page. And then back on our portal, we also have volunteer FAQs. This is a work in progress. So here's a bunch of FAQs. And again, the Forest Service site always takes precedence. So there's our little disclaimer box at the top. So lots of good information out there, and we're working on improving it. So as our guinea pigs, I mean beta testers, we want you to just take a look at all this stuff, test out, use it to schedule your winter patrols, take a look at scheduled hikes, take a look at reports, trail conditions, make sure everything's working okay, and just let us know if you run into any issues or there's any suggestions for how to spruce things up.
Hey, Yona, this is Brian. I have one little suggestion for the weather link.
Yeah.
You can actually get a point forecast from the Weather Service for Brainerd Lake, which might be a little bit more representative of, well, in the winter especially, it could be very different between Ned and Brainerd Lake.
Yep.
And then in the summer, of course, you can get point forecasts from the Weather Service for different locations in the Indian Peaks themselves. So just a thought.
Okay, great. Maybe I'll, would you mind shooting me an email with how to get that stuff?
Yes, definitely.
Thanks. You are, I think, our resident weather guy, so that's great. Awesome. Okay, well, that's all I had. Does anyone have any questions or anything you want to take a look at?
Yona, I had a question. Did you show us how to close out the report?
Oh, no, I didn't show you the report. Okay, so the report, I think I have it set up so the email doesn't come through until the day of your hike. So that's kind of a live thing. So what we will, oh, look, a bunch of people have signed up. Yay, great. Okay, so for the report, I'm actually going to just open up the report tab so you can see what that looks like. But what you'll get is you'll get an email. I wonder if I have a sample email I could do. Report. Nope. Okay, that's my dog's report card.
Well, we want to see your dog's report card.
Yeah, my dog goes to school. So she gets report cards on how she's doing. She goes to like kind of doggy daycare, kind of sort of. She gets to interact with other dogs during their pandemic lockdown. So anywho.
Lucky her, man. That's nice.
It's once a week she gets to go hang out with other doggies. All right, so I'm going to go in and show you the report. So the gist is that you are going to get an email, and the email is going to have a link to do your report. So wish I had one that I could show you in my email box, but it's going to have the report, and then it'll have a link. So you will click on the link, and then the link will take you, whoops, there, it'll take you to this. So you will click on it and it will open up your patrol report. And then from there, you will fill out your information. Some information will copy over. So when you're filling out the report, it's going to have some information that's linked to what you entered in on the scheduling side. So it'll start off with critical information for the Forest Service. When you're filling out your report, you're going to first select, is there any critical information? So downed trees, trail maintenance needs, emergency aid given, other emergencies, suspicious activity, serious violations, etc. Anything that's critical that you want to report to the Forest Service, you can select yes if that's the case, or no if everything's okay. If you do select yes, it's going to ask you to pick your report importance. So here's where you would say, okay, we have some down trees and trail maintenance needs, or maybe there's some other danger or critical information to report. You can select one or both, whatever applies. If you do select there's danger, critical information to report, you can put that in here into this box. It's also going to give you some reminders for some of the emergency phone numbers if you need to report anything. So if you're injured, you want to contact these different numbers, or if you have other critical information to report, you may want to call that in. So you can put that in. If you don't have danger critical information to report, but you do have downed trees, trail maintenance, whoops, let me put this in, okay. Critical information. Oh, well, I accidentally clicked it and then I actually don't, so I'm just gonna type none. Okay, so then let's see, if we go down to trail maintenance, downed trees, if you do select that there is downed trees, trail maintenance needs, then you're going to fill out this section. And there is a place to upload photos, which is kind of nice if you do have some photos of where those downed trees are. So first question, did you encounter any downed or overhanging trees requiring attention? So no, yes, I was able to remove, or yes, and still needs attention removal. So if you're able to remove it, it's going to ask you if one or more trees were removed, you were able to remove them. It wants you to note the number of trees that were removed, the date, and trailhead specified in any previous reports where they were identified. So if you, before you went out on the trail, you happened to glance at the reports and you noticed that there were some downed trees on a certain trail and you decided to go out there and take care of them, you could note which ones you took care of and what report it was that you were addressing. So here's where you would type in, took out XYZ trees. If you say yes, still needs attention. So instead of removing them, there were some large trees or some other things you were not able to address, you can select yes. And then you're always going to get this question as well, which is going to ask, are there any other trail maintenance issues to report, damaged signage, bridges out, etc. If there are any, it's optional, but if there are some, you'll want to put in the information here. And if you do have trees that have attention removal needed, it's going to ask you to select the tree diameter for the first tree. So here you would select small, medium, or large based on the rough estimate of size. And then if you do have a second or third tree, you'll also put in the sizing for those as well. If there's just the one tree, you can put that in. And then you'll specify the tree impact to the trail. So let's say it's blocking the trail on the ground, or it's leaning across, or it's overhanging but does not block the trail, or it's partially blocking the trail, whichever one applies. And then here's where you'll want to put in the approximate distance to the tree from a well-known landmark, such as a trailhead, trail junction, or lake. Don't use GPS coordinates. Better to just put in approximate distance. So let's say 2 miles from wilderness boundary. There you go. Okay. So then once you have that information in, you'll put in your other information. This stuff will copy over from the original thing that you put in. You'll have your date and time will copy. And I have limits set up on this already, which is why it won't let me put it in, because it wants me to put in a past date. It will only let you report on your hike on the date that you return or after that. So that's just a limit to make sure you're not putting in your report before you actually go on your hike. And so you'll put in your start date or your hike date, your return date, your start time and end time. This stuff will autofill from what you put on the schedule. And trail location will actually autofill as well. So it will copy over. This stuff will already be pre-selected for you. When you go in here, from based on what you picked before, you can change it. So if you decided to go somewhere else or something changed and you ended up at a different destination, you can change what you put in. And then again, it will copy over your destination information as well. Oops, there you go. And your additional route information, which you can edit to give the actuals of where you actually went when you get back. Your who went on a hike will also autofill. So this stuff will come in, and then you will have the ability to, again, designate who you went hiking with. If you do go with other IPWA volunteers, this piece does not copy from scheduling. So it's important to just, if you do go with additional IPWA volunteers, you just verify who you went with and then just put in who it was. And then once you have that in there and everybody's selected who went with you, you can then go down to your patrol information. And this is where you're going to put in all of your numbers. So miles hiked, and it'll give you some additional information. Miles hiked to the nearest half mile, including outside the wilderness boundary. So let's say we hiked 5 miles or 5.5 miles. Number of volunteer hours, including your drive time, and then your number of dogs seen on and off leash, number of dogs off leash, total number of people seen from the time you started, including all types of visitors. Just making up some numbers here. There we go. Number of anglers, number of horseback riders, number of people with firearms, number of backpackers, whoops, number of bikes. I don't think it'll let me put in a negative number.
No,
No,
so some of
okay,
these
good.
are new stats.
Which ones did you think were new?
The horseback, firearms, bikes.
That's still there.
Oh, they've always been there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's just because most of the time you get to fill out the form for me.
All right, Proby.
Number of fire rings removed, number of fire rings remaining that need removal, number of cars at the starting trailhead, and number of cars at the end. And you'll see that that also includes your parking lot and any overflow areas that you can see from where you're at. And then step 7 is your trail conditions for the public. So here's where you'll put in your trail conditions. Select from one of these: dry, mostly dry, wet and muddy, snow-packed with bare patches, fully snow-covered, traction may be recommended. And then you'll have an additional info for your trail information for the public. So this will be where you'll put in any information that you want to share with the public, and remember to keep it public friendly. So here's where you could put in keep snow, recommend snowshoes, etc., something like that. Okay, so then once you have your information in, you also have a place to upload photos. So if you'd like to upload photos, you can drag and drop them here. You can
Yay.
also upload them. And also, nice thing, you can do this from your phone. So if you have a smartphone or a tablet or something, and you're sitting in the brew pub or the coffee shop on the way home and they have some Wi-Fi, you can do your report from your phone as well.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so as long as you can open up your email, you can get to the report and fill it out. And then you could upload photos. Let's say you take some photos on your phone. You want to post a photo of a downed tree so somebody can see where it's at and what it's doing. You could post that photo here. And then you can put in a description. Downed tree photo. And then, obviously you'd upload your photo. Okay, there's an image. And then once you have it in there, it's going to upload it. There it goes. And then you can submit your report. Once you hit submit, it is going to send you a copy, just like it did with the schedule, which will have an edit link. So if you do need to make an edit after you've submitted your report, you can do that. And also it's going to generate the trail conditions report, which is just going to be certain fields from here that are accessible to the public. The only fields that are shared with the public are in step 7. So this information is going to populate with a public trails report that the public can take a look at if they're interested to see what's going on the trails. And that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to see?
Looks very cool.
It looks really good, Yana.
Yay.
Awesome.
I've got a comment on the back up on the reporting the diameter of the trees that need attention.
Yes.
You know, a large tree is 8 inches. You know, less than, I consider 8 inches a kind of a small tree. And there's a big difference between an 8-inch tree and a 24-inch tree.
It's under the assumption that 98% of the people don't correctly report the tree size, as you know.
But some do, and it affects my starting time. If it's a 24-inch tree, I'm going to start earlier, and I'm going to take a different saw. I can't cut a tree that big with this saw. So, but there's some way we could delineate some of the larger trees. Probably the most common size for large trees, I'd say 10 inches and above. It might be, that's where I start thinking about a large tree is more than 10 inches. And probably 10-inch diameter trees are the most common that I encounter in the backcountry. And if it's a 10-inch tree, I can use this saw. But if it's 24 or 20, I think 28 is the biggest thing I've cut, and I can't do that with this saw. And it does affect how I plan my hike.
We could add a few more. Leona, I can work with you to add a few more categories in there.
Okay, sure. X large, XXL. I don't know.
Exactly. Would that work, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, the difference between a 3-inch tree and a 6-inch tree or something is meaningless, but that's tiny. It takes a couple of minutes to cut it.
I just put an other in there. You
Well,
can
that doesn't help me.
explain. If you select other, then you can say it's a ginormous tree and you really need to bring a chainsaw.
Not in the wilderness. No, it does matter. Saw selection will be based on the diameter of the tree and how far in it is. If it's 10 miles in, I'm probably not going to carry a 2-person crosscut saw just because it's heavy. But if it's only a mile in, then we'll do a 2-person crosscut. So some of the larger trees, we do need to know.
So if it's bigger than 10 inches, just put a thing there that says, call Steve.
No, it'd be nice. Small ones, 3 inches, so pretty much almost anybody can cut those with a little tiny pruning saw. And between 3 and 8, quite a few people can cut those as well. But more than 8, it's probably just a few of us are going to cut those. But I need to know a little more about that, because an 8-inch tree is really easy. It doesn't take hardly any time at all. But a 10 or 12-inch one takes quite a bit more time. And you get up around 18 or 20 inches, it's a half-day project.
So maybe small, medium, large, Steve interested, and Steve drooling.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Steve.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the nice thing about the platform that we have, this jot form style of forms, is that we can kind of change them out and we can make edits to the forms really easily, which is something that was a little bit harder in the old system, which had a lot more coding involved. So this system doesn't have too much coding. We can easily change any of the values. So something like this, we can very easily just swap this out for a better list of tree diameters that makes more sense. So Andy, just send me over what you think we should put in there, or pop it in there yourself, and we can go
You
from
know,
there.
put like 2 large designations in there and have one just say other, and then have an explanation box underneath it. So somebody can write in it's huge or whatever,
Saying huge doesn't help me plan my trip.
Yeah,
But-
we
but-
want
Nobody cares to
specific
take
numbers. But we
but-
do have this box, which allows people to describe location, and then they could potentially maybe throw in there a super large tree.
But that doesn't help me either.
Yeah.
No, I was
Yeah, we
thinking,
need-
I was thinking, like, have a, large, from, from 8 inches to say 15, and then add a, extra large, and then try to convince them to measure it or guess how big it is and put that in the text.
Yeah, and Steve, send me your wish list in an email, or we can talk.
And another thing about cutting trees is that, if we try to encourage people to describe how it's blocking the trail too. If it's in line with the trail, we've got to make, 4, 5, 6 different cuts, 10 inches in diameter or more. If it's perpendicular to the trail, directly across the trail, 2 or 3 cuts and we're done.
Mm.
So it doesn't matter. The closest that the tree is aligned with the trail, the more difficult it is to cut. And that makes a big difference too. That's my 2 cents worth anyway.
Okay. Yeah. If you have suggestions for the specify how trees will impact the trail, we have a couple of options here, but maybe we need something more like perpendicular or
Yeah.
blocking. I don't know.
Yeah. Andy knows what I'm talking about. You can get that information from him.
Okay.
But it does really, that's a big deal though, if it's in line with the trail or perpendicular to it. Now, if I take a picture of it, that's good too, that I can just look at the picture and tell.
Yeah.
Like Andy, over the winter, Andy sent me some pictures of trees, and so I knew what they were looking like before I got there.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, thanks. And this is exactly the stuff that we want to try to, make the forms work for you and make them have good, meaningful stuff that will help with our tree crew.
There
So,
could
yeah.
also be like can we contact you about it if we had other questions or easier to describe something maybe?
You mean other than what would go in the text box at the bottom?
Well, Laura, is it okay if we contact you about the tree?
Yes, we just
For
want to make sure
details.
that the basics are captured in the system.
Yeah.
The answer is yes,
Yes.
but don't skip adding anything into the form. It would be in addition to.
Yeah, Yona and Andy, if the winter patrollers have any updates they want to make, where would you like those mailed to? You want them to hikers, or Andy, do you want it to the winter patrol list, or?
Let's just send it to hikers. Hikers email alias.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, and this isn't a one-time deal. If as you use it, you discover things that could be improved on, please let us know. And just to recap what Yona said before, with the old system, that would have to be custom software development, and we'd have to schedule time with Deb. Now making changes is so much easier.
Just with one quick comment, I really, really appreciate the ability to add photographs to the report. In the past, the only way to share photographs was through the IPWA Facebook page. Well, I'm not on social media, and so I never got to see any of that stuff, but this will really help me if people put in pictures of down trees and stuff like that. That's a really big improvement. Thanks so much.
Yay.
I did have a question, Yona, and I meant to ask this during our board training. Can someone add hyperlinks to the text box that describe the approximate distance text box?
Hyperlinks? I don't think so. I think it's just like a plain text.
So it'll convert a hyperlink to plain text. The reason I'm asking is
Yes.
last year we got reports of trees in